Okay, I think we're live. I'm Dan, your host, and today I'm going to go over just a roadmap for what I want to do on my channels. And one second, I get a little bit better light here. Okay, so what's new? I've been uploading some videos on Bible Meta channel, which I'm kind of pretty happy about, but not I'm not totally satisfied with how things turned out on it exactly. I'm just totally new to video stuff, um, publishing it, and that's kind of hard to. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but um, something about doing this whole thing that's kind of feels weird. But I figure the more I practice, then the better I'll get at it. So that's what I'm gonna try and do here. I guess what I mean is breaking that ice is something you have to get used to. But yeah, audio wise, I feel like I could talk, but if I just don't pay attention to the camera at all, but everybody's on video nowadays, so I don't know. Trying to get I don't know anything about the podcast world. I'm on YouTube, so I might as well be on YouTube too when I'm already on YouTube, if that makes any sense. But anyways, I know this is my Dan's on Music channel, and this is basically just catch all. This is just my experimental channel. I've had this channel for like 14 years or something like that. If you check on my stats page or whatever. But I've uploaded, haven't uploaded a whole lot. I think I do. If you do check my playlists on this channel, I think that most people could find some pretty interesting stuff because yeah, because I've just been saving videos for like 14 years. Like I said, I've got tons of playlists I've made, and some of them are, I don't think all of them are public. I think of a few that I wanted to change, that I could change to public, but I got a lot of different interests, and so there's stuff there. Anyways, I've got a hat on tonight because my hair's crazy, and I'm kind of tired. Had work today. My neck's hurting again. But yeah, I've got the Bible open here, and yeah, I mean, if you're not into the Bible, then maybe you will be on my channel. If you hate the Bible, then you're probably not gonna enjoy my videos too much because I'm connect everything to that. But my Dance on Music channel is just meant to be like kind of free form. It's just my experimental channel, like I said, and so I have a few other channels that I've made actually, but I haven't really published anything on them yet. So I figure I'll figure out what I'm doing on this channel and then work on those more. So, anyways, I'm probably boring everyone to death right now, but I've got microphone settings, new microphone settings. I'm not sure if that sounds better or not. So I did actually check my YouTube stats, and let's see, I've been getting quite a few views on the videos on my Bible Meta channel, but I only have 4 subscribers on that channel so far. So I don't know. It seems like it's getting out there, and it seems like there's quite a few repeat viewers, but I guess they just haven't subscribed yet, or maybe they just, I don't know. Maybe they're waiting to, I'm not saying that I'm deserving of a subscription at this point, because kind of got some bugs. I'm not totally happy with my content yet, but that's okay. And my delivery, it's mainly just my delivery, but like I've listened to these back, and I realize I'm just not a good public speaker most of the time, and I think I can be if I get like a passion in me, but otherwise I'm always saying but and so I've got to learn to just be comfortable with the long pause and gather my thoughts and not be sorry, my neck is just really sore. This is like the muscles are starting to tense up, but I don't know if this chair is just not a good chair, or maybe it's all the weight of this, the way I got this sitting on my head. But what have I got open here in the Bible? So I've got, so let me switch over to that. And fortunately, you probably can't see my mouse directly, because on a Mac, for whatever reason, on OBS, it doesn't show the cursor automatically. I don't know if there's a way I can like get the push the button and get it to appear or something, but no, I don't know. It's not. Maybe somebody can leave me a comment and tell me how to do that. But I can just kind of click on stuff. So over here, I've got this Bible program. This is called Online Bible, and I've been using it for quite a long time. They've got an app as well on Android, probably on the other two, but I find it to be pretty good. I do wish that they had some translations. They like, I can't figure out why it's so hard to find a Geneva Bible translation on any of these apps and stuff like that. Geneva, like, they don't even offer it to pay for paid in a lot of cases. But Geneva Bible seems to me like, just, yeah, like I've seen a few, and even for sale, like you could buy a copy of the Geneva Bible, but they have all these modern printings of them where they've put a lot of junk in it, and in some cases they leave it in the old English. It's like I forget what you call it when it's like a replica. It's it's a copy, but it's the old, so it makes it really difficult to read right off the bat in the old English. But we can do modern, what's called a modern English, modern spelling, with modern spelling. That's the thing, because the old spelling, they had like an F for an S, or just some weird stuff, spelling stuff that you could still read word for word what the Geneva Bible translated as, but just have it with modern spelling so we can actually read it. And so I can't figure out why that's not really available, but you'd think these people would just want to publish that. And it'd be even cooler to see actually the original notes that were in the Geneva Bible, because it was, the history of it says it was like the first study Bible. So, with actually like notes in it, and and I think it might have actually even been the first Bible that had the verses. One of the first one that had verse numbers, and of course they say the Bible wasn't written with the verse numbers, and that's true. But so, sometimes the obviously we have it. God's in control of these things, and these um, for better or for worse. That's what we have, today, and it works to memorize where you're at. It's just like it's a reference. It helps to read the Bible and to refer to something. I think sometimes people rely too heavily on like verse and book, like they'll just rattle off like a book and verse. You know what I mean? Like a big string of them, and like you're supposed to just just know, or just like look it up, in 5 seconds that they're rattle them off. I don't like that so much because I don't know. It just feels like gish galloping in a way. And I know people maybe don't intend it that way, but sometimes pride can be kind of a little bit blinding, and we can kind of be a little bit up on a high horse. But one thing at a time. So where was I going with that? Yeah, why don't we have these other translations? But this online Bible app, and this is on my Mac here. This is an old Mac, but that's another thing I do all the time. I say "but" all the time. So, and I do that too. So, I can do a search here, conspiracy. You can do a word search in this app, and you can probably do that on most apps, Bible apps, or even go online to like Bible Gateway. Some of those, I'm not sure. Of course, you're gonna get ads for like, don't go down that route. But with clicking on stuff ads, but where was I? So yeah, so you can do a word search with the Bible, and then if you figure out what that word is, I guess we have this Strong's Greek thing, and that's pretty much in the online Bible app here that I'm in. You can see I've got these green numbers here next to like each word, or each combination of words, and so each one of these green things, I can like click on it, and boom, it'll say, this is the Strong's definition, of the word. So like treasure here, I guess kosen, strength, treasure, riches. But anyways, it'll give you this number. So that koshen then is Strong's 02633, right? And where am I at now? Ezekiel. No, this is actually Hebrew. So that's like the Hebrew lexicon, and then that'll go into. And what's interesting is that it'll also say like from 02630, and I can click on that. Maybe I can't. So I can't click on that, but what I can do is go over here if you look in the top right. And what was that again? Treasure 02633 from 02630. I can go up here and go 02630, and apparently that's in Isaiah 23. Treasured. Where is it? 23:18. Right here. Her merchandise and her hire shall be holiness. To the Lord it shall not be treasured nor laid up, for her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently and for durable clothing. That's in Christ. Durable clothing. Eating sufficiently. So treasured. Wait. What is it? 02630? Okay, laid up. Kachin. So that would mean laid up. Like you stored or laid up something. Like what we you would probably put away treasure. That's like I think the implication then. So that verb, I guess, laid up is linked to that idea, a noun of treasure, I guess. How that would work. But so what I was searching for before though was conspiracy. Oops. And conspiracy. And you can see here, I mean, the word conspiracy is in the Bible. In fact, there's probably more than this Bible app, online Bible, takes like a literal spelling of any word. So like, if I type in conspiracy, I'm not going to get conspiracies or a conspired or anything like that. But I don't know. This has like, if I can comma and add on conspired. No, maybe not. Maybe it has to be. Anyways, I'll figure that out. But I usually just do it one by one. Conspired. Let's try conspired. Ooh, boom. That's a big hit. Especially in First and Second Kings. But let's check out Amos. Amos 7:10. Then Amaziah the priest of Bethel sent to Jeroboam, king of Israel, saying, Amos hath conspired against you in the midst of the house of Israel. The land is not able to bear all his words. For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be led away captive out of their own land. Also Amaziah said unto Amos, O thou seer, go flee thee away into the land of Judah, and there eat bread, and prophesy there. So but prophesy not again any more at Bethel, for it is the king's chapel, it is the king's court. Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was a herdman and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. And the Lord took me as I followed the flock. And the Lord said unto me, Go, prophesy unto my people Israel. Now therefore hear thou the word of the Lord. Thou sayest, Prophesy not against Israel, and drop not thy word against the house of Isaac. Therefore thus saith the Lord, Thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. And Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. And so if you get what's going on there, the king of Israel, Jeroboam here, Bethel, where are we at? Amos. I think this is Jeroboam 2. Let me check the chat real quick and just see if anybody's actually in here. We're at 18 minutes. Where's my chat there? It's going to ask me to log in. I'm not. Okay, there we go. Anybody in the chat? Messages. Anybody in the chat? I don't see anybody yet, but I'll leave this open here on the side. So, okay, so what's going on here? Okay, let's like think modern context, but so this king of Israel, Jeroboam II. So remember Jeroboam the first. He was like the guy. Jeroboam was the guy who, after Solomon died, Solomon's son Rehoboam, like basically made a division. It was prophesied that already that Jeroboam. It was prophesied to Solomon actually that Jeroboam this guy who was like a worker for him, like a builder, I think, and like one of the lead like foreman or something like that. And he was like prophesied he was going to like take like 10 parts of the kingdom, and by this prophet on like the roadside, said that take two pieces of clothing, and or two torn. The kingdom would be torn apart, anyways. But what ended up going down, though, so and of course, it's important that we understand the context that like this was prophesied beforehand. In fact, let's go there real quick. Where would that be? Zimri. Well, Solomon would have been at like the end of First Kings, right? He's Kings, so maybe the end of Second Samuel. Anybody in the chat can help me out? Okay. Okay, so we got Jeroboam back, way back up here. We got 18th year, King Jeroboam. Judah. Okay, so there was like another Jeroboam, I think. Yeah, son of Nebat. So we could actually look at Jeroboam, what that name means. The people will contend. Very true. Yeah, so like Jeroboam basically represented this. It was this rebellion, led this rebellion, and Rehoboam was basically like, I'm not having any of it. Like, I'm gonna be stricter than, stricter, basically on them and their labors. Because remember, they labored to do all the work. They did tons of building, I guess, projects during the time of Solomon. Of course, a lot of those building projects were like, bad, awful, and spreading idolatry into Israel. And then so as a rep, as basically, God's not ignoring that, showing us, is he split the kingdom. And so Solomon's descendants would still reign over Judah, but not over broader Israel. Broader Israel would be reigned. Only the first reigner was Jeroboam the first, and he set up like a golden calf in two cities, Bethel and Dan. So that was the context for in Amos there. So in Amos 7:10, the priest of Bethel. So Bethel was like the capital of Israel, I guess you could say. So this Amaziah guy is a priest of Bethel, so he's a priest of like this golden calf, which I guess is still there to this time. But there was this Jeroboam the second who came like later, quite a while later after Jeroboam the first, but I think was like, very similar, I guess. Kind of interesting, and it kind of just seemed like a little bit of a reset there is going on at the time of Jeroboam II, because something really interesting that I found, that I discovered, which is really right there the whole time if you're looking at it, is that the prophet Jonah actually is mentioned. Prophet Jonah is actually mentioned not just in the book of Jonah, but Second Kings. Right. Yeah. Right here. When it's talking about Jeroboam the second. Right here, Jonah, son of Amittai, the prophet, which was of Gath-hepher. So this tells us actually something. This is big because it tells us something else about Jonah that we wouldn't otherwise know about him, his life. Outside of the book of Jonah, which is just like a specific time period, obviously, of his life. But apparently by this word, he was actually like, he was actually like he was a prophet, known as a prophet, I guess, already in Israel. Depending on whether this was before or after the book of Jonah and what happened there, I would kind of tend to think that this was before the book of Jonah, because then he's a testament to Israel first, and then a testament to the Gentiles in Babylon, which would follow the pattern of Christ as well, and Christ being the greater Jonah, the fulfillment of Jonah, the sign for the Gentiles, the salvation to the Gentiles, the faith of the Gentiles. So this tells us actually that that Jonah made a prophecy, and it said the prophecy that Jonah made. Let me take this Strong's numbers off for you. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath, which is like the top border of Syria, I think, unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of the Lord God of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai the prophet, which was of Gath-hepher. For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter, for there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Israel. And the Lord said that he would not blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam the son of Joash. So I don't know if this Jeroboam the second was, yeah. Anyways, there's a lot to connections to make here, but I guess the big picture I would see here. And by the way, if you just learned that what I just said about Jonah there, give it a like and subscribe to this channel, because you learned something today. And let me keep going. So the point I'm making here is that conspiracy, does the Bible say, of course, that saying conspiracy, this is King James, confederacy in King James, which, no, not the Confederate Army, that's a confederacy, but it's the same idea. Confederacy is a joining together that's opposed to something else. So you got a federacy, like the federation, and then you have a confederacy, like another opposing government or whatever, overthrowing government, that kind of idea. So this say ye not a confederacy, or say not a conspiracy to all them to whom this people shall say a conspiracy. Neither fear you their fear, nor be afraid. Set apart the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread, and he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. And I will wait upon the Lord that hideth his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. And when they shall say unto you, Seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead? To the law and to the... So I think the idea is like people are saying, this is what's going on right now. I would say this is what's going on right now. Okay, this actually does explain the weird thing that I've seen. I know other people have seen it. Is like where you've got this whole weird thing going on in the conspiracy movement, because there are real conspiracies like you know they're done out there. Sometimes there are fake conspiracies that are put out there as legit conspiracies to make anyone who questions conspiracies to be crazy or something like that. And that goes on all the time. That's psyops. That's going on like mass level today. Now it's getting like overdrive because you can create infinite psyops when you have like infinite digital resources and everyone's getting their everything through digital connections. So like that's where we're at right now today. It's a time to be very skeptical of everything that you hear. Do not get attached emotionally to the things that are going on in this world, like as if like there's a lot of vainglory going on. By vainglory, I mean, self-glory, glorification of men, groups, ideologies. It's going on massively, and it's very, very attractive to the flesh. Everything's in 4K now, or or 6K, whatever it is now, and everything's very polished, including people's narratives, the counter narratives, all that stuff, if you know what I'm saying. But we have all these people that are like kind of going into this spiritual Gnostic New Age kind of thing. They're saying that will say unto you, like, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter. We're looking for an answer. Like, look at it's really like people are like going like they're gurus, like the great writers, the great thought people, whatever. That's like familiar spirits. These people are dead, but they're like trying to get to seek God through their understanding of God through all these, the dead. Yeah, I mean, it's just so. I think that is going on, like what this is saying. This is kind of hard to understand the way this is, but what he's saying, this is what they will say back in those days. That's what they would have said. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, hopefully somebody knows what I mean. But anywho, so let me keep going here with trying to develop this thought. So when the Lord says, don't say a conspiracy, he's saying, okay, so he's saying, do not say this. A conspiracy to all them, which well, this them, I guess, is in italics, so that's kind of like added in English. So, to all who this people say, shall say a conspiracy. Neither fear you their fear, neither be afraid, nor be afraid. So the point is that the conspiracies actually, and this is something I have noticed ever since 9/11, because that was my kind of big event, I guess. As I was, doing what we do millennials here. I'm an older millennial, but you know, uh, we all got on the internet back on in 2000 and all that, and that was when we were all coming into it, late 90s, early 2000s, and um uh when we I was saying here, yeah, so when we got into, yeah, when I got on YouTube, I think YouTube was actually even around as early as, I'd say I started hearing like about the 9/11 truther movement and like probably 2000. I actually heard about it pretty late. I'm gonna say 2006 or 7, until I really started looking into it um, at all, really. But I dove deep at that point, though, and I mean, I'll tell you, like, years of, yeah, I hate to say, it's not a complete waste, but there, for sure, waste of time, wasted time, some of it, a lot of it. But I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes, though. When you're trying to research and you're trying to dig, is like you're gonna get a lot of, you're gonna be digging through a lot of rock and a lot of roots and weeds and stuff, that you're not expecting, and you just have to dig through it to get the gold. Um, but here's the thing, though, is that knowing the truth about conspiracies is not really the gold, because like, um, it's just, these are like temporary things. Like, you know, uh, are we ever going to get, and like with the stuff that's going on right now, like this high, the people are just so buying, drinking the, the juice right now with this whole, Epstein released. It's reminding me of what they called QAnon back in, thing. And there's still people that are still carrying that name, but um, I think these are high level psyops, and or they could even be like self perpetrated psyops, because like, socially, when we're like in this echo chamber, all it takes is for someone to inject an idea out there, um, that that's unfalsifiable, perhaps, but you know inject that idea, and now like we're everyone's going to town with it, and all people will grab that and run all different directions with it, and they'll do it of their own, you know because they're deceived, and they actually, their passion is into what they're doing. They're not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to pay somebody off to spread propaganda. Like, they will be, the masses will do it for you, quote unquote, whoever the powers that be are. Yeah, mainly talking about the media when we're talking about the media machine and all that. Like, we've got extreme social conditioning going on, these like influencers and stuff, and like, we can't trust any of these people. The CIA agencies that were embedding into mainstream media back in the day, that they're embedded into um, social media people, and like it's even more less transparent now today, because there's no way you can know who's a double agent and who's not, which is actually something that's going on with the flat Earth movement right now. Double agents, the appearance of double agents, and maybe these people weren't really intending to be double agents. I think that people do. I think people just, there's a lot of cosplay going on out there. Like, I think we already do cosplay in a way. Like, people's egos. We develop an ego when we're like teenager or whatever, like, when we attach ourselves to, our identities to our heroes, our idols, these people, either people we know, teachers, family members, people we looked up to, whatever. We kind of grab on to, different aspects to kind of form our own identity. And and so like anything is against, that is against me, you know, as a person, whatever, we actually like attach ourselves to these ideas and stuff, which is kind of why people are so passionate, I think, like, passionately against talking about flat earth and stuff. It interferes with in a big way. You can see it from their point of view in that, like, I'm talking like, I don't know if I want to say names because everyone else does that. I mean, because you all know who it is. Neil, Bill, those people like that. You know what I'm saying? At that level. And I'm not really talking to them on this program or, silly people who listen to them or whatever. But maybe I am, if you're out there. But you could look into some research. That's the thing. So it may make you angry for somebody not to love these people that you look up to and the same way that you do, maybe even to criticize them in some way. And I don't want to go as far as like some people do. Like, we don't need to make fun of people or like get in. Let's just stick to relevancy here. And let's keep our own turf. I see a lot of people trying to like cross turf and in ways that I don't think is a good idea, really, for you personally. Not, but I mean, we can just speak truth, or at least, as the way that we see it, based on our perspectives. At least that's always generally considered to be socially acceptable, in the world, that we can, have our opinion. And I'm not saying what I'm saying is that, we don't want to stoop to like we need to be the patient ones, patient, long suffering, like those, for Christ's sake, because of God's patience and long suffering for us who are redeemed and forgiven by him. So we need to not be trying to get in revenge for ourselves, like trying to see vengeance exacted in its fullness. I would even tend to say even partially, because in this age, because the thing is that like you don't see yeah, yes, Jesus did say, buy yourself swords or whatever. And I had to say from now on, go take yourself a sword. But he doesn't say taking physical vengeance on somebody. Like, I think the idea was for protection. But I think the actual greater ideal in that line that Jesus said about taking a sword, I think there's a higher meaning to that, taking the sword from now on, that he says. If we think of the sword representing the spirit, because that's actually what, and I can prove that if you are a person who is open to having your eyes opened maybe a little bit wider. Jesus, let me go there right now and table this conspiracy thing here. What does he say? Let me flip over to a window, actually. What is what I got here? I need to flip over to a browser window so I can do this, or maybe I can just do the search on this Bible thing. What was I going to search for? Oh, sword. 2 swords. 2 swords. Here are 2 swords. Luke 22:38. So 2 swords. That's important. He says, here are 2 swords. So he's that's the answer right there. That's the clue that we're already given. We have to look. See, we know that God is in control and Jesus is God in the flesh. So that we know him according to his flesh, his existence in the flesh as the Son of God. But he is the fullness of God, one with the Father. So if we understand that that God is in control of really everything, because every prior like every action has a prior necessary action that initiated the consequent action, and that includes thoughts as well. Like if you get for you to get a thought in your head, like that has to come from some previous something, either something that just to remind you of something, this happens every day. We get in our car and we go for a drive, and you see a billboards on the way, and you see like this kind of sign, that kind of sign, or you see, hey, that's kind of strange, someone's riding a bike this way or that way. I'm saying? These are all things that are happening, and we don't really think much of, we don't need to account for, everything necessarily, the why or what led up to it, because we're just used to not having to answer all that. But we do kind of ask questions and stuff, like well, where did that come from, or how did that happen, or you know what I mean, if we don't recognize something. And so, like, let me try and stay on point, if you're following me so far, though. But he says, let me do the build up here. So okay, start back here at verse 31. Okay, but I have prayed for you, Simon. Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you that your faith fail not, and when you are converted, strengthen your brethren. And he said to him, Peter said to him, Lord, I'm ready to go with you both into prison and to death. And he said, Peter, I tell you, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day. Before that, you shall thrice deny that you know me. And he said unto him, that's kind of this is the thing about Luke. We're getting extra information here. And he said unto them, when I sent you without purse, scrip, and shoes, without purse, without money, without shoes, did you lack anything? And they said, nothing. Then he said unto them, but now he that has a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip, and he that has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Okay. This is a spiritual statement here. Okay, I really I believe that I believe that the Spirit of God has opened my understanding to at least some level of something that's going on here beneath the surface that many don't talk about. I've not heard somebody talk about before. So I'm going to give it away today. So please hit a like or subscribe if you're still here and if you're learning something. So what are we talking about here in spiritual language of these things? Because see, these are Christ's last words, and he's preparing them for what they're going to do. He's going to have them do after his departure. Okay. So everything that he says is spiritual. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a earthly level understanding, and it doesn't mean it's opposed to the earthly level understanding. It's just that, like, we understand a spiritual thing, from we start with the earthly first, we have to understand what, you know, um, the basics, like when Jesus says, if you can't understand earthly things, how will you understand if I tell of you heavenly things? Right? So he's telling us of earthly things here, but we have to understand the heavenly things. That's how we can interpret the whole Bible, the whole Bible in this way. But we have to understand how the earthly things relate to the heavenly things. What are we to understand here? But it's all in Christ. So like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to say that you know, I'm not trying to say that there's, I'm not preaching. I'm just saying that like this has always been here. So he says, "For I say unto you that this that is written must yet be accomplished in me." And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. Like I just said, he was preparing them for his departure. The things concerning me have an end, though. And they said, him here in the flesh, like in this time, he still has a body, but he's not dependent on his body, or like, and like his physical body was what I mean. The point is that he's bringing us into a spiritual, because he says God is spirit. Those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. So that means the Spirit of Christ is the Spirit of God that is also fully in Christ Jesus. So the animating spirit that animated the person and the body of Christ, Jesus Christ, is the one Spirit of God, fully. So when words are coming out of this man's mouth, they are the Spirit. They are actually the Spirit of God speaking. Which is why he says, the Father's words are coming out of me, and they're doing the Father's thing. So the Father is actually the Spirit, is God, is actually animating the person of Christ, and thinking for him and everything. I say thinking for him because he is, because he's one God. So I hope that understand makes sense. I'm not trying to start a fight or anything like that. What I'm going for is clarity, and so that our understanding is in line with, that we're understanding things the way that we're intended to, and relating to them through the Spirit of God. So they said, "Lord, behold, here are two swords. Here, two swords." And he said unto them, "It is enough." So that's all it says. And he came out and went, and as he was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. Okay, so here are the two swords. So like, what's going on here? It just so happened that there were two swords that they had. They didn't, not three, not one, but two. And why is that important? And because it doesn't explain anything else about it, or why. I guess apparently Peter had one of them here because he cuts the ear off of the high priest, which there's a deeper meaning to that as well. But the two swords here is obviously the so in other words, we're intended to think about two swords here. Then it's when it says he who has no sword, maybe a physical, you might want some protection, You know, I don't know, but the spiritual sword, he that has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. So I'm thinking, like, you know, the word of truth, sell your garment, like your righteousness, get a sword. That's just kind of where my mind has kind of gone with it. So I don't even know if that makes sense to them, but anybody in the chat? Say hi. Any questions so far? Any comments, corrections on anything I've said? Clarifications? Am I making sense? Is any of this interesting? Is any of this actually helpful to you? Let me know, and give me any tips too. I'm not afraid to. I need practice. I need tips. I'm trying to learn and get better at doing this talking on camera thing. I think I'm going all right. Once I forget the camera's there, it's a lot easier actually. So, anyone want to listen to some music? I'll pop some on real quick. Let's just do Delicate Piano. It's always a good one. Is it too loud? No, I don't think it is. My headphones, I guess, are up kind of loud. Got a bunch of stuff in the way, though. I can't even see the key. I just like chords. My leg's falling asleep. The key of C tonight. Nice chord there. Ooh. Should have been a chord in between there, but that was good too. So now I went on that whole big rant. Where was I going with that originally? Yeah, so sell your garment and buy a sword. But here's the thing, so like about that. I feel like a lot of people are taking I was talking earlier about, like, I think people are maybe in the conspiracy thing, or like maybe, I don't know, putting themselves out. Maybe they're stepping outside of their thing. I don't know. Maybe I won't talk about that tonight because I'm pretty talked out, I think. But here's a real conspiracy. I'll save that for next time too. Psalm 2. You just read Psalm 2. See, like, it doesn't have the word conspiracy, but it's about a conspiracy. And if you see if you can figure that out, it's pretty clear what it says. But and if you read that Psalm 2, that tells you what's going on actually. But the thing is see, okay, here's, let me just pop up to this real quick. This has been on my mind. So like the flood came out of the dragon's mouth. Okay. No, I'm not saying, like, I'm not getting into, yeah. Of course, Revelation. So what's my disclaimer? I don't even know. Pre, post, trill, bill, I don't know. None of that. Exactly, but I do, here's the thing, is you gotta check the whole thing as a whole. Like, no, anybody who's like taking the whole book there and like trying to, there's a lot in this book, and it's not so simple, but like, as people try to make it out, but it's gonna fit, it is fitting to something that's real, but it's a spiritual thing, and the spiritual, you have to understand what's going on. So what happens here? Where are we at about the flood? Where's the flood? 12:15. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so remember the woman. Where am I going to go here? They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make more war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So, I mean, there's a lot probably that this could represent, but I mean, obviously, the dragon represents the dragon. The man-child, the woman represents the true church. I mean, it represented obviously Eve as a type, and then obviously all of the because the promise of the man-child was to her initially. That would crush the head of the serpent. So that's the whole thing here, which brought, but he would strike his heel. So if you think about this, a heel, if God is in heaven, then what in the earth is his footstool, then like his heel, his foot is touching the earth. That's the picture that anthropologically that we're picturing here. And of course, your heel, your foot stands on, it elevates you from the earth. It's what connects you to the earth, to rest on the earth, and it also provides support so that your whole body can stand up above the earth. So I mean, there's something into that whole idea that God created that this realm this way and our bodies this way. All this is for a reason. Um, you know, it said that God was above the waters at creation, so he was already above everything there. We're above water on Earth. You know, um, And see, then all that to say is that it's not that some esoteric idea, and by esoteric they mean like hidden meaning, or like kind of a, what do you call it? When like an earthly thing kind of can represent something higher. I think that's the idea. But I don't really like using that word. I'm not promoting that word esoteric or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of junk out there too. People can take it too far and they try and work and just to destroy the faith from that angle. No, I think that God created everything, so like it's his logic. He is the logos, so it's his logic that made everything the way it is. So like what he says is true. He made it to be so, to match that. So whenever something represents something, it's just that's what God says it is. So anyways, but this flood, I think that's interesting, because this flood here out of his mouth, and you think about a flood coming out. See, I was going down here. Where's it about the false? Where's the false prophet at? Well, see, oh, that's it. That's it. So yeah, the mouth. The flood came out of his mouth, right? So like words come. What else comes out of mouths? Words, right? So if you picture the idea of this dragon, and it also says that the dragon spoke like a dragon, looked like a lamb. His mouth. What was it? You know what I'm talking about if you know. But anyways, it says right here, this open his mouth and blasphemy against God, blasphemy his name. There's blasphemies written all over the woman's forehead, names, blasphemous names. She was using the word of God to blaspheme it. Basically, she's like blaspheming, using words of God that are meant to be holy, and blaspheming the meaning of them, twisting. So that's. But trying to find where the. Yeah, so yeah, he saw another beast coming. He had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. Okay, he's doing great wonders. Where's the false prophet again? Maybe it's still. Anyways, but this stuff is all kind of overlapping in Revelation. I do believe there's somewhat of there is a progression of thought that goes on through each section, but each section kind of overlap. There's overlap with the others, because this whole book is not just meant to go from the time of Christ to the end. This whole book is meant to sum up the entire history itself. That's the whole idea of like the logos again. Like God He says, I declare the end from the beginning. Okay, things that are not come to pass before they happen. So God saw the end from the beginning. This was all his intention to have a redeemed people saved by grace, and to come as a man, and that, yes, that does possibly raise other questions if you haven't been exposed to that idea before, that thinking. It can raise a lot of other questions and make people not feel good because about things that are going on in their life, or things that are going on in people they know's lives, and things like that. And they can start to question God's God's goodness, but God's goodness is beyond. And I know somebody will say that's not a satisfactory answer, but I intend to give satisfactory answers, but only if they're true, satisfactorily. The idea is that we want to know the truth, even if it hurts. Because if it does hurt, then there's probably, there most definitely is something wrong with us and the way we're thinking for whatever reason. But and we don't understand that we need to understand more clearly from the Bible, which is all meant to show us this. But my point about Revelation is that it's all beginning to the end. So like when we talk about this woman, like I just mentioned about Eve, the woman brought a man for the man child. That promise was made to Eve at the beginning of creation, that her seed would, he will crush the head of the serpent, but the serpent will wound his heel. So, there you go. So when it's talking about this dragon, then it, and the beasts, the first beast, second beast, we're talking about all of time, not just like the last 4 years or whatever. That to isolate it, to look at this book that way is not the right way to look at it. Now, will you see like a lot of things that seem like they're going on right now? Absolutely. There are a lot of things that kind of seem to be going on right now, but that's always the case, and then we should expect that if all of history is being encapsulated in this book. So the main point of the book, though, is for us to understand the theme of Revelation. That's what's in the theme of all creation, because the revelation is the key to understanding all of creation, right? And the purpose. So that's why it goes from the beginning to the end. But of course, the cross has to be is the defining characteristic of all history, of course, because that is God revealing Himself fully in His fullness, and the first fruits of the eternal state. So I've been going for over an hour now, so I am going to sign out for tonight. Thank you for watching if you've still made it to this far. And I'll see you on the flip side. Like and subscribe. Take care.